Good morning. So, yesterday off camera, I went and pretty much done all the way up to what we did through stream. Redid one, redid the, gosh, what I think I'm all woozy today, so hopefully we'll see how long this, woke up a little dizzy or disorientated, so, good luck to me today to function properly. Definitely a pill for so anyways, so I redid it and I made a copy of my redo, and proportions look much better. So if you look at the first one that we did, which is in the upper right hand corner, that one's the first one we did, and it looks alright. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look horrible. But anyway, so my lights in the clear, but whatever. Anyway, so but I knew it was too short. There was no doubts there. It was too short, so that's why I went off camera and excuse me again, redid it to more to spec. So I'm gonna play you a video in a few moments of how that went about. It plays it a little fast. I'm not sure if I can slow it down, but anyways, redid it, went through all the math to try to get the right dimensions on there and stuff, because you're gonna have some flag advocates out there. Oh, this doesn't look right, it looks odd. They may not necessarily know what it is right away, like that one on the corner, but after they looked at it, they're gonna know that there's something wrong with it. Short, but that's why it's just sit there and play with it. I did my own star off on a different title and imported it in and my stars, so I did one step further than what we did the other day on stream. But here is the picture here. So I used a texture tool, textures. There's this grid texture right here. That's what I used to create the texture, and I just had to make sure I had my pen held on as firmly as possible without too much pressure, of course, and then just go over the entire thing. Drew it on that first layer here. And then layer 2 is where I was counting my squares, and I figured out I had enough squares width-wise and height-wise to do what I needed. And layer 3 was where I drew out my lines and stuff. And I went all the way across like the other one to kind of get that dimension. Layer 5 was the filling in the black area. Used layer 3 as a reference. So when I dragged and dropped my color over, it wouldn't go over the line or fill the whole thing. It would just use the underlines as a reference and fill up to that border, essentially. And layer 7, I did my stars. I went to the traditional grid again and spaced out my stars according to the traditional grid, because that worked out really good to get the distance and everything. I think for the most part they're all pretty much lined up. There may be some that are slightly off, but I really tried my best. There was probably a better way I could have done it, but this is what I'm doing. So it worked out pretty good getting those spaces out and fitting them in here. Once I got the stars done, I moved the box into the appropriate spot, because when I first started it was way off, way high, way wide, and all that kind of stuff. I adjusted the box to fit inside my post, I think is what this part of the flag. So, let me play back the video. You can kind of see what was going on. See a double grid in here, the original grid and the green grid. But, yep, this is just me. I was trying to play with, like, where's the stars going to be at? Where are they not going to be at? Was it wide? It wasn't wide enough at first, and then this is when I made the adjustment. In regards to like where they're positioned, original grid. Just kind of all over the place. Too wide, not wide enough, and this is where they are on the original grid where I'm putting them down, little blotches and stuff. So, and that was working good. Again, where am I in the right spot? Too far over, and it was just a little bit of an entertaining process. But yeah, getting those on the original grid. Drew a line around the outside just to kind of get that set up, and then for me, I was just fine-tuning a little bit right in here, like the width and the height and all that other stuff. Original. And then just put the stars over the top. Pretty boring on that one. That's probably why I was having a hard time. I was doing it over the blobs. I should have made the blobs a little different color or something. But, you know, hindsight, they say, is funny. So, there is that project. I'm going to leave that one alone since that's our original up to this point. This one has the same time lapse. Other stuff. So no big deal. I don't want to ruin my original. I want to keep that the way it is, so if I mess this up, I still have my baseline. Because sometimes you get so far into it and you're like, oh my gosh, I should have done a different step like 20 steps ago, and then having to erase all that up to that point can be a bit painful. So, here's what we have here. I'm going to turn off that base layer grid because I don't need that, and I do layer 2, which is my definition here of width and all that other stuff. Oh, what is that? That's over here. Brush. So up a little bit. Hard to tell where some of these lines are at. That little make much of a difference. Let's go to this corner. Fine tune this up a little bit. There is our American flag. With these stars, I'm going to add another layer. Use this for reference, get an idea. Reference. And let's pop into our white. Never get it white unless I have to go to the classic wheel. Flipping on this. Check this. I'm gonna turn all my stuff. I'm not erasing them. They're still there. This is the nice thing about layers. Cool things that alright. And I'm gonna go back to this layer as a reference. Only have one reference layer. Add a layer of the top of that. I don't want it with the lines. Back in black is black. I'm gonna drop that in. Poof! The stars are there. So that is pretty awesome. So that's our basic black and white flag. And I'm going to do this again with this one. I'm going to duplicate it. And then that way, you know, if I want to go back to dabble with that one, I have a duplicate file up to that point, and then I can dally around with it. I just need. Next, we're going to do. There are texture brushes in here that. Look at that. Right. What I want to do. Because we were thinking of doing this. Just drawing this out is bring it. You know what I thought it would. So, in order to really warp this, before we do that, I'm going to bump up here to this. I'm going to use this as a reference. Find all three. So there's the flat part of the flag, the rest of it. Those two alone. Use that as a reference. Selected. Okay. And layer 6. Let's see if I can find a texture brush that would give that distressed. Where is my texture? Grunge. That's pretty cool. Adding a little bit of distress to it. Where it looks worn, shiny. I really like it. Oh, this super up a different texture coming in. That's gonna have its own warp effect to it. That back. I'm going to drop this like that. Um, could do the opposite of stars. Why don't we do reference layer instead of white brush? Stars a little bit over in the mid. This is a separate layer, so I'm not worried about erasing top of that. That looks like a very abused and loved and worn flag. And not only just a couple little steps. And really hard and make a big. I don't really need that. I'm just barely touching. Going over the top. Too far over the top. Just putting black over the white area. The one was putting white over the black area. So. Actually. You know what? I don't mind it. So. Could have erased. So. Next I'm going to merge these together in one solid piece. The reason why I'm doing that is so I and you know what? I really am enjoying this. I hate this. Some of these other duplicates I've already done. This one. And I'll delete. So I'll probably delete the original, but those are ones I didn't really. Those are just reference. Same thing. I'm gonna leave that one there for now. This one goes on it. Quirky Rose. Leave that on there because that's the concept idea. Until we're done, and then I'll just. But I did like the distressed look of the flag. How it looks so natural. This looks a little bit very pixelated, but tattered, worn. Try to figure out if I can drop one side of the flag down, bring one side up, and then side down and up. So here's this. Get our moving in the wind. Got distort. Warp by gonna have to play around with it. Where you want how it look. If like it, like it's just kind of flapping. I kind of wanted to have it with, but that's why we made a copy of it. Like it, we can original fiddle around with that one. So the last steps are already done, and we don't do the whole thing. You can't do that in real art. In real life, when you're actually working with pen and ink or whatever on paper or other projects, you can't be like, oh, well, I don't really like this. And back to 5 steps ago, oh, you gotta repaint the whole. So I like this. Turning out good. Next step I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump on the internet. I was looking a little bit last night at some roses. So I was kind of looking at something, not quite like this, but, very similar to having a rose. A lot like the demo that we did. And these are just reference. All we're doing is just using as we're not going to actually have their image embedded into our. We're going to temporarily use reference, but we're not going to really use that as part of the. So, 30 screen. I think. I like that one that was. The other option was doing a rose like this, right there in the middle. But I kind of like. Here's why I like this one. Longer stem on it. I mean, this one would work too. One of these. Cool. One looks like. Oh, let's see. Try a different. That's kind of. Looks like a. That one looks like it's more at you, and has a lot more detail than the other. This one, oh, wait a second. Sorry, I'm just having like a brain thought, whatever. I really like this one. So the reason why I was thinking of doing roses, and I don't know if you caught the other explanation when I was doing the mock drawing Friday last week. But I want to do it for a remembrance of firefighters and police officers and the military. This one would actually look perfect. Doesn't have any leaves on it, which I don't particularly care for. However, got the basic concept. So I'm going to put this one. That's not what I wanted. Okay, there's my rose. I Procreate. I'm going to go into a new picture. We're going to grab a large canvas. And we're going to drop that bad boy. Now, what reason why I want the large canvas on here is so then that way, it keeps the high resolution. Okay. Then we can always add in later. We'll do that on another layer. Import it. But here's the start of my concept. I'm going to add a new layer. I am going to take this one, drop down that open. Wait. So I can still my line. Come in. Color. Definitely want to change the right one. Some digital artists will use a different color on their paper, even in their digital art. Weird. Slept good last night. And that could be why I'm all kind of dizzy today. So let's see. So I can come in with a different color. Into a blue. This is just to get drawing done. Everything. Seriously? Then we can take a reference photo and remove that from the background layer. little bit off. Slide that area. Citizen. How do I want times the petals are incorporate. And you see the lines, see how crossover. Sometimes you're like, how do I translate that to? Right there. There we go. Here's our first rose. And let me see if we get the other two done. But we'll just off here. Love it when you're trying to yeah, some of this more resolute. Blew it up so hard to see lines. Right side. Hard to see for some of the Right. Just about done with this last. These ones were actually, using a reference in this quick. But using a photo like this, reference would think about, like, if you mainly practice, think about what shapes are here, how does it curl, react, um, so, just kind of thinking about why things are doing what it is, what shapes, the lighting aspect of it, where the lighting is coming from. On this one, you can see dramatically the right lighting is coming from the left. Turn off that. Seriously, I did it right on top. My goodness. Well, that's fun. Um, so their mistake, but you know what? That was reference. Back to here. Go to clipping mask. Um, blow it up. Oh, way to fix. All on a new. Um, oh, probably because it's. Um, but note to self: always make sure you're on the right layer. But that's okay. Still fix. Um, definitely. call it quits. Finally do. But yeah, that's the whole concept for those lines and stuff. And come back in later and make it a little bit more your own. And I can show you once we're done. We did a little bit of the warping and stuff. We can modify some of this to kind of make it a little bit more our own instead of a copy of a reference photo. So we'll dabble a little bit more with that tomorrow. Off camera, I'll go back in and the line work and stuff to that prepped stream. But yeah, I'm definitely sorry, but I need to figure out how to get my head screwed on straight. Oh man, it has been quite a morning already, and even o'clock. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you in the next one. You have a safe and fun day.